Hello, beautiful alchemists. Welcome to Elina's Alchemy. Today I want to talk to you about trees. This particular one back there, it's actually a bit of a huge one. Look at it. And there's some other ones as well that are even bigger. I think there's some on the back. But this one behind me, let me fix my camera. This particular tree, I think it was a couple of winters ago when I spoke with it, and it was a tree that opened up my mind in regards to trees and how they live their lives. I am someone who spends a good chunk of my time out in nature. I know these areas like the back of my hand. Alone this year, spending time here, it's a little bit of a gift because last year I was really working through a lot of spiritually nuanced experiences in this area because I'm a grid worker. For those who don't know what this is literally an energy healer who works with the land and works to clear distortions. And you're gonna ask me, where do these distortions come from? They come from long histories of this planet, and there's a lot that is not mainstream knowledge. And I teach about these things in my Sacred Alchemists membership. I have a class called Planetary Stewardship 101 because for many energy healers and intuitive people and light workers, this is what happens when you start to complete the issues that you've had to complete within yourself, like your own personal histories and from past lives and this current lifetime, and going through your shadow work and your healing. At some point you reach a level where you can, I'm not saying you're all healed and holy, but you reach a point where you can afford, so to speak, to start working to help also the environment around you from an energetical standpoint. And so a grid worker is someone who goes to places, or maybe even works from a distance on places, to clear energetic distortions and negativity from the land mass. And so last year, it was a very intense year for me when it comes to grid work, how much grid work I did, and how much sometimes some areas might fight back because the energetic imprints are too well embedded. This looks so beautiful. Let me not move my camera now, but the entire field here, like full of beautiful floating leaves against the sun, looking very magical. So sometimes, you have to really fight for a place. And for me, what happens when you're also a grid worker and you are really making a difference, like you go to places and not only you clear earthbound spirits, you help them move on to the light, but you evict also very negative energies that felt that this place here was their realm, and they could be siphoning basically the energy of the place, of the land. You could see that the trees were struggling, of the people, and feeding into bigger tunnels and networks of negative energies, the likes of which are used by black magicians into very higher up echelons of dark levels of our society. Let me just leave it at that. And so last year I was really like fighting to get this place cleared, and I'm very grateful not only for the tools, but also the tools that were found on my path by other grid workers, the tools that my own spirit team came forth to offer to help me do this work, not only successfully, but also in a manner that my own safety was supported, because something that I didn't know when I embarked on this journey, because it came so organically. I didn't wake up one day and say, I'm gonna do grid work. It just happened, and I realized how it had been preparing me. It was something that I was being prepared for over a decade now. Something that happens is that when you are having such an effect where some negative gestalts cannot feed from certain energies anymore, because you went in and you cleared it and you shut them out, and you claimed that place for organic gut source, and some energies have been locked outside now. There can be backlash, and there can be all sorts of issues. So always work protection also if you're gonna be going to places and doing clearing work, even if that's why I said this is happening a lot now to a lot of light workers around the world. I'm noticing where suddenly maybe you were shuffling your tarot cards, maybe you were doing a little bit of healing here and there, and suddenly it's like you go places and you start realizing, oh my gosh, there's spirits and I can meditate and help them move on. And it's like, could this be a thing? Could this be a thing that I can do more regularly? And I think if that's your piece, you will know. So for me, sitting here now with my tree friend, and it brings me back those memories of how it must have been like 2 or 3 winters ago I discovered this tree here. I felt the calling from a completely different area of the forest. There wasn't even a path here. Now there is a path. They have opened a path, and that's also part of the landscaping that happens after a place has been energetically cleared, and it becomes more accessible. Good elementals start coming back in, and it becomes more accessible, more open to interfacing, like interacting, being open like more also to humanity, to positive humanity. Because I'm seeing also that this path here, even though now it has been created, like they opened the path, and the trees, the consciousness of the trees and the elements here, they kind of co-create this. They kind of like, okay, we're ready now to interact with people. So it's a manifestation. Suddenly the city decides, let's create an opening there, a pathway. So the place here, there's a path. Back when I discovered this tree, it called me, and I had to really like come through complete wilderness and find it. And there's a path now, but I'm always the only one who's coming here. So I think also when you do this kind of energy healing and clearing for the land, and I'm teaching in my membership all of the different tools that I have found in my path of how to do this work effectively and safely for you, because there's a lot of stuff flying out there, but it doesn't mean that it's also safe, these ways that are touted. So I'm seeing a lot of people right now stepping into their grid worker era, and that's very good, but we have to know how to do this work safely and carefully and with respect, and not trespassing, but also not superimposing our own will and ego onto situations that maybe it's not our piece, it's not our part to work on them. And so this tree, that's what it was showing me again today, that when you do clearing for places, really the life impulse returns, and that shows in the area alone. That little play that is happening here in front of my eyes with the leaves, that they're golden, it's floating in front of the sun, and they make this little light tricks and stuff. This is a very beautiful high vibrational experience. It's beauty starts to return. And this tree, as I said, like 2 or 3 winters back when I came here and I found it, I approached it and I hugged it. I had this impulse to hug the tree, and I reached through to its heart with my heart, and I started saying greetings and you are so beautiful. And the tree responded, because some trees I've found, they are not very, they might say thank you, and by say I really mean they communicate in thought forms. It's telepathy. So you perceive it through the heart. For me, that's how it always happens. I don't think that stuff. They don't pop in my mind always. Usually they pop through the heart. And then I use my mental capacity, of course, afterwards to mentally, intellectually unpack, like open the zip folder that, let's say, came into my heart from the tree. That's I think the best way to describe it. Also, when I communicate with spirits, sometimes I will hear, because I'm also clairaudient and stuff, but usually it's like these zip folders of information, and then you can open it up and understand what it is. So this tree, long story short, it showed me how, because that was my first question I asked it. I was like, isn't it lonely? Don't you feel bored? Like the fact that you are in one place. Are trees bored? And the tree said, no, we're not bored because we move around. And that was the first time in my life that I ever heard about that. And I was a little bit like, what do you mean you're walking around? So it showed me that through the root systems, which I kind of knew that they communicate, but I thought they communicate, not more than that. What this tree showed me was we also move through the root system, which means the spirit of this tree, if it feels bored or if it wants to know what's happening on the other side, or that's how they can know what's happening on the other side of the forest. You know, it can go out of its trunk, it can go through the root system, and it can pop somewhere else at the edge of the forest into the trunk of another tree. And it can look and see what's happening there. Okay, then go somewhere else, and then go back. But they cannot stay for too long away from their main trunk, because then the actual physical part of the tree, it starts to, it can die off, so to speak. And so the tree basically told me that, you know what, we have ways to know what's happening there. We get news. So our lives are very colorful, very like we visit friends, we travel, we go places, we see things. And after I exited from here and I went to exit the forest, the tree kept being with me, showing me, like showcasing, like, look, see, that's how we do it. Like I was walking on my way to exit the forest and it kept following me by basically going from tree to tree to tree to tree. So you could say in a way the tree was walking with me, the spirit of the tree. So that was an experience that definitely opened my eyes a lot in regards to the spirits of nature. And it's definitely an experience that I hold it very special in my heart to this day. And it came in just as my work as a grid worker, my active, like where I really started going out and laying hands on the earth and doing energy work to help the land. This experience also came together with that, so I think that was very symbolic. And so I send you much greetings with that, me and my tree friend, and I hope you're all well. And if you want to learn to do grid work and energy healing with the land, join me in my membership. I'll be happy to see you there. It's €7 or $7 per month, and you get access to everything that I make, all the classes, everything. So I love you all. Goodbye for now.